Hello and welcome to the Swine Brothers Show, episode 95 for the 18th of July, 2016. If you'd like to get in contact with the show, you can email us at ellinthemood@gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers. Just type that in. And Twitter is SwineBros666. I'm your host, Ellie Lindemood, and my co-hosts are...
I am the Jim, and I do things sometimes.
I'm Cheswold Almighty, and I just take up space.
Thanks to everyone who watched our recent interview show and all the other recent shows, by the way. And I mean that since... What?
You said so I just said again.
Shut up. Being a dick to Chaz. We would like to... this is kind of an open call. We got a shitload of likes and a couple dislikes because we suck and we deserve it. But we didn't really get any comments, and we're... You know, Anarcha is more of a like hound. Other people are more like hounds. I don't give a shit about likes or dislikes. I want comments. I want reaction. I want interaction. I want people to tell me how shit I am, how I can improve myself, or how good I am. So if you see this episode and you sit through it, leave a comment.
I think the whole thing is they're holding out because they just want to issue death threats, but they realize we would welcome them.
Yes, they really... So they don't realize that the way to insult us is like issuing us, like, you know, nice... You know, you guys are great people.
Yeah, that's insulting.
Yes. You guys are upstanding members of society. How dare you? So, sorry, what?
Go ahead.
So, yes, we're back for our Monday show. Thanks to Ryan, who was a great interview. And everyone check out his bands, especially The Howling Void, which has become like probably one of my favorite bands. I think I described them as the sound of gods dying. Very symphonic funeral doom. So today will be a different show with different stories. I don't know any of these stories because, as usual, we didn't do any pre-planning. So, Jim, hit me with one.
Why elections are bad for democracy.
Oh, here's a good one already, isn't it?
I'm tending to agree, but that's my own fascist tendencies coming out. Heil the Elliot.
It's more Darwinism. Anyway. Perverted Darwinism, that is. Brexit is a turning point in the history of Western democracy. Never before has such a drastic decision been taken through so primitive a procedure. A one-round referendum based on a simple majority. Never before has the fate of a country, of an entire continent in fact, been changed by the single swing of such a blunt axe wielded by disenchanted and poorly informed citizens.
I don't know if it's never before, but I'd say they've got it. I mean, well, I'm not as skeptical about Europe as some people here.
Well, the thing is, they're the same people who vote in any election.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, more people voted on the referendum than actually vote in the election. The reason why is people's votes actually counted for something.
I have a rant about the referendum that I want to get across after this thing's over, because I've seen many right-wing websites that. Well, anyway, continue, and I'll do my rant in a minute.
But this is just the latest in a series of worrying blows to the health of democracy.
Democracy died a couple hundred years ago. I mean, everyone knows that. Everyone knows that democracy, at least in certain countries, died a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah. I'd say a bit more recent than that. I'd say turn into the late 19th, early 20th.
I think you could make a case to the early 19th when people like Jackson put their friends in power, and fuck
Yeah.
knows how many elections were actually valid.
Well, I mean, it wasn't up until the 1830s that we got rid of rotten boroughs here in the UK.
Yeah, okay.
Back in the day when it was all first set up, you had this system by which constituencies were decided very poorly. So you could get a constituency which is just land that consists of like two people, like two households, and then obviously one is voting for the other. They were called rotten boroughs, and they were used by the House to try and swing elections in their favour.
Yay, corruption.
Well, yeah, it meant that as the country changed thanks to the Industrial Revolution, most people, their vote didn't count. And then that's when they set up the idea of, obviously, population deciding constituencies. And that was a huge political referendum.
Well, let's see what else this article. This is from what website is this? The
Guardian.
Let's see what other.
Oh, the Tardian, yeah.
I actually like their not their opinion section, but their some of their political stories are decent.
The Guardian used to be good, but it's fallen to the wayside now. It's just become mainstream media pap.
Yeah. I mean, I think I remember I used to read it a lot because it had actually some really good political stories.
Well, it used to be a credible newspaper. I mean, the Guardian used to be more of a...
No, Chaz. No, Chaz. It used to be a citable ooze fraper. That get at the misspellings in the 80s or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then when obviously tabloids came along and became popular, the Guardian sort of like followed suit. It turned itself into a tabloid.
I miss the Weekly World News. The Adventures of Bat Boy, fucking
Bat Boy.
Space Alien meets with President Bush and Bill Clinton, and fucking babies shipped into the U.S. inside watermelons. That was some Class A reporting there.
Bat Boy exists. If you want proof, watch this show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have fun designing the tags for this one.
On the surface, everything still seems fine. A few years ago, the World Value Survey, a large-scale international research project, asked more than 73,000 people in 57 countries if they believed democracy was a good way to govern a country. And nearly 92% said yes.
The only good way to govern the country is if I'm in power, because I'm the only one I trust.
Well, what was it Churchill said? Democracy is one of the worst forms of government. The only worse ones are all of the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Churchill was a shit fucking person. Sorry.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was a shit.
Womanizing, lecherous perv.
Well, him and the black and tans. I mean, seriously, if it wasn't for him, what he did in World War II, he would have a vastly different fucking reputation.
Oh yeah, most of his speeches were done by a guy who voiced Winnie the Pooh. It turns out, who worked at the BBC, and the only sort of like really redeeming story of Churchill is the interaction with Lady Astor. Lady Astor said to him, Mr. Churchill, if you were my husband, I'd put poison in your coffee. And he turned around to her and without a snapshot said, Madam, if you were my wife, I would drink it.
That's good.
So,
I know many people. I know many people. Some of them exes who are thinking that exact same thing right now.
But you know, it's funny. It's Churchill, he has quite a good reputation because of the things he did in the war, and a lot of them go unknown, like the SAS and the sort of like the idea of the commando unit was Churchill's idea. The small splinter guerrilla warfare tactics,
Yeah,
as like actually setting up a unit to
Yeah.
specialize in that was his idea, based on the guerrilla fighting that he had experienced himself
but
as a younger man in the army.
as far as like, well, we'll get to that in a minute. I actually want to get the story
Yeah,
out of the
sorry,
way.
I'm taking it off of a fucking tangent about Churchill. I do apologise.
Fuck him. I'm glad he's dead. Let's move on.
But that same survey found that in the past 10 years, around the world, there has been a considerable increase in calls for a strong leader who does not have to bother with parliament and elections.
Oh, come on. There have been calls for a strong leader. In some circles I was in, there were calls for a strong leader in the. Oh, yeah. They were called Nazis, by the way.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I hear from them all the time.
We need a strong leader who will stand up for.
He'll make America great again.
I knew you were gonna say that. And I didn't. I was like, do I really want to go there? And then he went there for me. Fuck you.
Because come on, that's what Trump is selling on. Trump is just managing
know,
to sell
yes.
extremist Nazi rhetoric to
We had a
people.
meeting. Hey, we had an unofficial blackout on Trump that you ruined, even though you didn't know about it. Fuck you.
And that
But have you seen his logo? That was the funniest thing.
Yes, TP. Yeah.
TP for my bunghole.
Just the way the T looks like it's shagging the P. That's the best bit.
Nice.
And that trust in governments and political parties has reached a historical low, just as it should. Never trust your government.
Never trust anything except the fat blind kid telling you to jump off the cliff. Trust him.
Yeah. I'm the voice in your head saying, do it. Do it now.
Yes. No, I'm the voice in your head, bitch.
It would appear that people like the idea of democracy but loathe the reality.
And the reality is that you can't always get your way because
that's
the opposite
the thing.
side wins.
I mean, there is problems with democracy. I mean, especially when it comes to referendums. They seem nice on the surface because it's like, oh, everybody gets an equal voice and a vote actually counts.
See, I'll tell you when I was tired of democracy. I was reading my 12th grade history book. Yes, it's not a very reliable source, but it was better than any other history book. And it was literally like they were going to make this, platforms were for lowering of the min or for high for doing something like moderately progressive like racial equality in the 1890s or whatever. But people voted, and I had to look it up, and yeah, it was true. They were actually racial equality bills in like the 1890s and shit, like or not, but long before the 60s. People just kept voting it down. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if we just got rid of these voices and just kind of made what I say the law? It's good for the people. So yes, I'm a fascist.
I think Hitler had some of the same ideas.
Yes, I know. I'm not a Nazi. I'm a fascist, Chaz. There's a difference.
Yeah, potato, potato.
No, Nazis and fascists are not the same, because you could be a liberal fascist. So, do I need to give you the speech again? I'm going to spare Jim and not do it.
Yeah.
Spare the Jim and then roast his face on an open fire.
Look, I just want to hurl people into the volcano of truth. That is all.
I just want to hurl people into the volcano, period. Moving on.
There is something explosive about an era in which interest in politics grows while faith in politics declines.
There's something explosive. Yeah, there will be. Once they start throwing the fucking bombs.
What does it mean for the stability of a country if more and more people warily keep track of the activities of an authority that they increasingly distrust?
Do they though? I find it's more surface keeping track of what did Trump say today, what did and I'm like, who the fuck cares what Trump said today? What about this story? Huh?
What about the actual decisions that are fucking us over every day?
Well, I don't know about that, but Trump said something about immigrants.
Mm-hmm. How much derision can a system endure, especially now that everybody can share their deeply felt opinions online?
Well, apparently, it can endure a lot because I've been derising it for different phases: communist, anarchist, uh, and now social democrat with some blatant fascist tendencies, which, by the way, are, obviously I know enough to actually not think I'm going to be president or dictator. It's, but obviously it can withstand a lot because I derise and nobody cares.
You see, if I ever get elected president, my first act will be to defecate on the White House lawn. Then I will resign from office. That is all my presidency will be known as. He
Can I be
shit
vice president?
on. Sure, why not?
Yeah, that way I can be president. And then, oh my god, he's turned this fucking country into a war zone.
Yes, we really wish we still had that guy that all he did was shit on the White House lawn.
He just went to war with he just went to war with Switzerland because he doesn't like Tom Warrior's latest band. What the fuck is wrong with him? Fuck you, Triptychon sucks.
50 years ago, we lived in a world of greater political apathy. 50 years ago, we lived in a world
That's true. Well, I mean, it's only true if you think as low the hippies as I do. And by that I mean the hippies didn't actually understand what the fuck they were talking about. All they wanted was to dance around, smoke a few joints, and talk about peace, man. Do you understand politics? Anyway, fuck Bob Dylan.
And yet greater trust in politics. Did you meet the hippies?
No, well, politics is in like they wanted to get people in, like the hippies wanted to get themselves into politics. So trust in not politicians, but politics as, we can change the world by voting, man. That sort of, not politicians, but, we can change the world by voting, man. And then Nixon got in and everyone cried.
Mm.
And that
No.
ruined a lot of people's dreams.
Well, hell, that just reminds me of like someone calling up one of the local radio stations. This is back whenever you were just having your state's referendum on the legalization of fucking medical marijuana.
All right.
And they called in here in PA 3 days after the vote asking where they could sign up for the poll to do this. And you could tell they were fucking stoned and ripped.
In Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, a state that was at the time not holding that referendum. And 3 days after, the referendum had already been held in California where it was being held.
My friend used to work for local radio. Not anything impressive, and not around here, but, wherever the hell he lives. And he used to say he used to love screening calls because he loves screening calls even more than hosting, because screening calls you get to deal with everyone, whereas hosting you only get to deal with the people that they let in because they're people. He used to love screening calls because you get fucking wackos like the guy who thought that an alien was attached to his teeth.
Beautiful.
It's attached to my fucking teeth, man. Anyway, yeah.
Now there is both passion and distrust. As if before there wasn't. You're not seeing patterns in this shit. God.
See, I want to see another run-in with the hippies and the outlaw gangs.
Oh God.
Fuck, that was weak.
These are turbulent times, as the events of the past week demonstrate all too clearly.
This was done just after Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
And certain things called we missed a lot of shows, it's all my fault, kept us from doing this in time.
Yeah. And yet, for all this turbulence, there has been little reflection on the tools that our democracies use. It is still a heresy to ask whether elections, in their current form, are a badly outmoded technology for conveying the collective will of people into governments and policies.
If you want the collective will of people, just find a leader and watch the sheep rally around them. That's your collective will. They have no will. People are animals with no will. I hate the general public. Can you tell?
Yeah. Isn't it bizarre that voting, our highest civic duty, boils down to an individual action performed in the silence of the voting booth?
That was lame.
Is this really the place where we turn individual gut feelings into shared priorities?
See, I don't trust the average person to vote because, as he said, or she, or whoever the hell, individual gut feelings, meaning like people who don't actually understand the situation get just as much of a vote as I do. And that scares the shit out of me.
And they outnumber
That's
you.
always... Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still more for that, because that way we get what we deserve.
I guess.
Shit on ourselves and then let them suffer.
I guess there's still the idealist being slowly strangled by the cynic. It's a war inside my head. Trust me. There's a war inside my head. You want to be in it? You can.
I thought I was.
You can fight a plane with the nukes.
Yay! Bring back the bomb, baby.
It's been far too long.
Mm-hmm. Is it really where the common good and the long term are best served?
Probably not, but the long term is never best served in the common good. I'll tell you what the common good is. The common good is death metal, beer, and stop closing down racetracks for noise complaints, you pussies.
Pussies.
That's
what we should do right now. Just execute all the fucking wusses.
Every time, and you know what pisses me off is these people buy a house, buy a racetrack. Okay, they buy a house, buy a racetrack, where vehicles race, and racing vehicles tend to be loud. You know this. You bought a house, buy an existing racetrack, and then you complain. Where's my sledgehammer? I mean, that's what, not, well, we built a track after. No, you buy a house, buy a racetrack. Ugh, fucking people. And now we can't do anything past 6 because you fucking curfew.
Countless Western societies are currently afflicted by what we might call democratic fatigue syndrome.
I think you'll find it passing phase.
Symptoms may include referendum fever, declining party membership, and low voter turnout.
There's never been good voter turnout. I mean, there's people... I mean, I can't speak for the UK, but people in the US wonder about voter apathy. Okay? And I know why there's fucking voter apathy. Do you remember when this campaign was launched, Jim? Doesn't it seem like a billion years ago that Trump announced, that Ted Cruz announced he was going to, that Trump announced, doesn't that seem like a billion fucking years ago?
Yeah, because they don't fucking give it the break they... Fuck.
I mean, the Brits complain, and yet, Chaz, you guys don't even talk about the election until, what, like 2 months before the election or some shit?
Well, we talk about it briefly sort of before, but we really sort of start mentioning it afterwards.
But there's like 2 months, right? There's not.
Pretty
there's
much
not.
that's when the heavy sort of debating thing goes on. Yeah.
There's not 19 months. There's 2 months, and Charlie Brooker's like, it's been the longest 2 months of an election. No, you know what, Charlie? You're not allowed to complain. You don't have to sit through February 2015, and we're already talking about the election in 2016, November 2016 even. And I'm sitting there looking at a wall going, Wonder if my brains would make a nice pattern on that wall.
Probably.
It's that's voter apathy. People get drained. People get. I can't speak for the UK. This is written in the UK, I think, but I
Yeah, the
can't speak.
Guardian's UK.
Yeah, but they have American correspondents and shit. So, but I can't speak for the. But I can speak for the US. People get fucking tired. I mean, I'm tired of it. I got tired of it in August last year. I told people to shut the fuck up about the campaign. I didn't want to hear about it. I still don't want to hear about it. Tell me about it in October 2016.
I think the thing is, though, it's like we're one country. Over there, you've got all of the states, and you've got the whole presidential race, and then you've got the elections. And we have nothing to do really with the party leader being picked.
Oh God, yeah. And Chaz, we have more news channels than you do. You have a shitload. We have more. And those news channels must be filled. And Satan forbid they're filled with, what's that word? News.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit what color people are shitting, and that seems to be what they're best at figuring out.
I mean, I watch news programs for like news and current events and things like that. I don't watch news to hear what Trump's latest thing is, or say political discussion with Rachel Maddow, who's an insufferable human being, about who's better, Hillary Clinton or a bag of rice. I don't care. Tell me about the train crash in Tennessee. Who died? Thank you.
Dave, news is just it used to be about informing people of shit that was going on. Now, and then they sort of had the ability to talk about a lot of different things. And
you can blame Reagan for this, by the way. Well, you can blame Reagan for he's the catalyst of this, because one of the things he did was, and we'll get on the topic in a minute, Jim, but you might find this interesting. What he did was he privatized, or he basically made it so that corporations can buy up news networks. Whereas, so basically, what I'm saying is, in Vietnam, the news networks were very critical.
First off, corporations owning news networks, and other media outlets had been existing long before that. I think what you're thinking about was that he removed the need to have equal airplay to both sides of a political matter.
Not just equal airplay, but he also loosened the corporate influence. Equal time and a couple other business laws as well. Deregulation laws that aren't quite equal time but do the same thing as equal time. To make it so that, General Electric buys NBC, and General Electric doesn't want you to think, negatively of some venture that they'll profit from, so you're not going to see any negative opinion about that. And that, of course, Bill Clinton is equally blamed with this Telecommunications Act that ruined the radio airwaves. That's why we don't have any community radio stations in Los Angeles. And I like community radio, as Jim knows, because my favorite metal station is a community radio show on FM, who plays, what do they play, Jim? Everything. I got them to play "Ye Go to Hurt Gods" on Friday. This is called Black Knight Meditation. Subscribe to them on iTunes. Do it if you like metal. If not, then don't. So that's why we don't have any community radio. There's no room for it in the airwaves. Anyway, continuing on with.
But democratic fatigue syndrome is not so much caused by the people, the politicians, or the parties. It's caused by the procedure. Democracy is not the problem. Voting is the problem.
I know what the problem is in the fucking U.S. No, well, in the U.S. voting, because you vote in the primary, then you vote in this, and there's like 18 things you vote for, and then you fucking finally, when it feels like it's been 10 years and you've aged about 40, you finally step into that fucking room and vote for the president, and then you realize that your vote doesn't count because the Electoral College votes that count. So then you go into the back room and bang your head against the wall so hard that it splits open and you wind up in the hospital.
I just find that fascinating, that those two sentences tied together. Democracy is not the problem. Voting is the problem.
Maybe they want to shout. Maybe you should all have bullhorns. Just shout your vote into the wind.
Well, I mean, one of the things they can do to fix a lot of these problems is systems such as proportional representation.
One of the things they can do to fix it is just have me rule.
We got fucking... God. Our bicameral fucking Congress, it has both elements, so it's like...
I don't know. Moving
and
on
it's
to
still
the thing.
fucked.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Where is the reasoned voice of people in all this? Where do citizens get the chance to obtain the best possible information, engage with each other, and decide collectively upon their future?
Well, they don't. Nor
This
frankly,
sounds like communism, but okay.
No, it's not communism. It's basically what the world should be. Unfortunately, they don't, and the powers that be don't want them to.
Where do citizens get a chance to shape the fate of their communities?
Their local elections.
Well, it's not the voting booth, so no elections. Sorry.
But that's what we have. We elect councils in here. We hold more than one election.
Let's finish this. Let's see what they're actually on about.
They say flat out, not the voting booth for sure.
Well, I mean, if you think about how many rigged elections there are, they might have a point. I don't know what their point is, but...
No, this isn't about being rigged. This was because they're on the Brexit thing that was, a will of the people thing, and it was just a slight majority.
It wasn't a will of the people. It was... Oh, okay, Brexit rant. Finally. Okay, you've made me say... The Brexit thing wasn't quite will of the people. It was people didn't understand it, so they fucking voted it down. My thing about the Brexit thing is you have all these right-wing sites going, can you believe that the Remain voters are so butthurt? They want to call for a new election. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Well, that's exactly what the Remain camp were going to do.
If the Remain camp had won, do you know that the Leave camp would have called for another election?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That actual petition was started by a Leave campaigner, and Nigel Farage was saying if they got less than a 52 majority, they would use that as a reason to call another referendum.
Yes, I know.
So it's won, and suddenly that condition doesn't stand anymore.
You're preaching to the choir. I'm just saying that I think it's just funny the way that people, look at these bad losers. Oh, please jump on a knife.
So democracy isn't good for democracy. Okay.
And by the way, and then once they voted to leave, they all jumped fucking shark. They all jumped ship.
Yeah, that was the funny part.
Yeah, that is actually the funny part. As soon as the people could have exulted in their victory, and they all jumped ship, which to my mind means they didn't really expect to leave in the first place. They were just doing it as a publicity stunt / stroke the propaganda machine.
Oh, yeah. None of them thought they were going to win.
No. And then,
going into the polls, they thought it was going to turn out to be just a very, very, close thing, but Brexit wins.
See, I've seen people jumping ship on both sides. I've seen a lot of people in the Remain camp say, oh, fuck, I didn't know the EU had like a fucking army plan and all this other shit, and that they were doing this and that.
We know that, and we also know what the army plan is about. That's the thing.
No, yeah, you know that. You know that, but a lot of the people that were voting Remain didn't know that. And they said, I would have voted Leave if I had known that beforehand.
I think a lot of people don't understand what the EU is / does. I mean, I read a very good article on why they should have voted Remain. That it didn't talk about the evil communist grip. It didn't talk about so it was basically just about farmer subsidies and people's and things like that. It was a very good and convincing article. Not that I didn't really need it. Not that I need any convincing. Everyone knows how I stand, but still. Um, but I'll say this and I'll predict this. You guys can laugh at me all you want, but I'm just going to stand by. I predict in a couple years we'll be saying, remember when Britain tried to leave the EU and it didn't work? That's my prediction, and you can guess what I mean by that. But that's basically my prediction, is that it'll all just fucking blow over, and we'll be here going, that was a big waste of time. That was the biggest fucking waste of time ever.
The words election and democracy have become synonymous. We have convinced ourselves the only way to choose a representative is through the ballot box. After all, a Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 states as much. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. This will shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage, and shall be held by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedures.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The words "this will shall be expressed" are typical of our way of thinking about democracy. When we say democracy, we only mean elections.
Well, what other parts of democracy are there?
People vote on things. I mean, there's ways people bypass democracy within a democracy to make it more totalitarian, one way or the other.
Yay!
Nice little corrupt things going on to fucking bypass everything, but in a democracy, everything does come down to a vote. So you're saying democracy is bad for democracy.
That's awesome.
This is just a level of idiocy I needed to fucking look at. But isn't it remarkable that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights contains such a precise definition of how the will of the people must be expressed? Why should such a concise text about basic rights, which is fewer than 2,000 words long, pay particular attention to the practical execution of one of these rights? It is as if the people who compiled the Declaration back in 1948 had come to see the specific method as a basic right, as if the procedure was in itself sacred.
Which they did, because they just spent 6 years fighting off Hitler, and were about to. I mean, granted, Hitler won an election, but shh.
Won a couple.
Don't but and plus they were going to war with Cold War with the those damn red guys.
Yep.
In the years after the Second World War, Western democracies were dominated by large mass parties, and they held the structures of the state in their hands. Through a network of intermediary organizations such as unions, corporations, and party media, they succeeded in being close to the lives of individual citizens. This resulted in an extremely stable system with great party loyalty and predictable voting behavior.
Okay.
That changed in the 1980s and 1990s, when discourse was increasingly shaped by the free market. Party newspapers disappeared or were bought up by media concerns. Commercial broadcasters entered the field, and even public broadcasters increasingly adopted market thinking.
That's what I was talking about. Where most news were public broadcasters, and all of a sudden you had NBC being sold to General Electric. I think Mickey Mouse, Uber Alice buying ABC. Hey, Heil to the mouse. Anyway, so, and by the way, everything Disney touch turns to shit.
That's true.
Just look at ESPN. They actually used to be a decent network until Disney bought it.
Viewing, reading, and listening figures became hugely important. They were the daily share price index of public opinion.
Yep, that's what I've been saying for many years. It's all about ratings, and people do tell me the BBC doesn't look at ratings are fucking deluded. Because I mean, although they don't have advertising, that's what Sty tried to tell me the other
What was that? That who?
that the BBC didn't care about ratings.
Oh no, the BBC cares about ratings.
Of course they do.
They have since the 80s. The whole reason why we had Channel 4 set up, it was to see if a public service broadcaster could be funded with a advertising revenue rather than a commercial advertising revenue. So they had the private television company ITV at the time sell their advertising space for them.
Well, also, let's just talk about the main BBC. If a show sucks, they're not going to keep producing it. I mean, it's not about advertising to them, but it's about, well, this show bombed, nobody watches it. Why the fuck are we going to spend our own, money on this? Here, let's go try a new idea.
Commercial mass media emerged as the most important builders of social consensus, and organized civil society lost ground.
Yep, and now it's just whatever the organized mass media says. All hail the organized mass media.
The consequences were predictable as citizens became consumers and elections hazardous.
No shit, the consequences were predictable. See, I actually agree with this part.
That part I agree.
Yeah, it's basically saying everything I've been saying for the past 10 years.
See, that part I agree with, but I think it's still like they're not realizing that, fuck.
Well, let's see what else they have to say. I mean, I haven't read this, so I'm going to hold off my judgment, obviously, until I've digested the whole thing.
Parties began to see themselves less as intermediaries between people and power, and instead settled into the fringes of the state apparatus. To retain their places, they had to turn to the voter every few years to top up their legitimacy. Elections became a battle fought out in the media for the favor of voters. The passions aroused among the populace diverted attention from a far more fundamental emotion.
God damn, isn't that the fucking truth?
So,
ain't that the fucking truth?
Commercial and social media also reinforce one another, picking up each other's news and bouncing it back to create an atmosphere of perpetual mudslinging.
Oh my god.
Tough competition, loss of advertising revenue, and falling sales prompt the media to produce increasingly vehement reports about increasingly exaggerated conflicts. This is true.
I know it's true. I've lived it.
What kind of democracy is appropriate to an era of fast, decentralized communication?
Maybe you should just tweet hashtag vote for blank, and whoever has the most tweets in an hour period wins. And then I cry myself to sleep because I thought of it.
Maybe we should turn politics into like a reality show, and in order to get elected you have to do a series of challenges.
The last chain fight to the death.
Don't say it too loud, Chaz. They might be listening. How about we just shoot everyone?
How should the government deal with all those articulate citizens who stand shouting from the sidelines?
Articulate? My ass. Vote for the number 4, Trump, U, the letter U. Yeah, that's articulate, apparently.
Eh. Imagine having to develop a system today that would express the will of the people. Would it really be a good idea to have them all queue up at a polling station every 4 or 5 years, the bit of card in their hands, and go into a dark booth to put the mark next to the names on a list, names of people about whom restless reporting has been going on for months in a commercial environment that profits from the restlessness?
God, you know what the scary thing is? I actually agree with that. However, the only thing I'm thinking, the only alternatives I'm thinking of scare the living shit out of me.
Now, keep in mind, this is saying that voting is bad for democracy.
What they're
They
saying?
want to keep democracy.
No. I think what they're trying to say here is that the modern day style, or the basically that we've passed by the old style of voting, as in sitting in a queue, queuing up, punching a card. I think what they're trying to say in long form is let's modernize voting, basically. Not, I mean, yeah, the voting is a bad thing. But I think what they're trying to say is basically let's modernize voting and democracy. And every scenario that comes to my mind about modernizing makes me want to move to another country. Because if you try to modernize it and you make, I mean, I'm glad elections are so badly, attended. Because if everyone attended an election, this world would destroy itself. At least this
Well, for
country would.
years, they justified not giving everybody the vote with the idea that not everybody's opinions are actually equal. This kind of idea of man sort of versus Superman. Some people deserve more of a vote than others. And this is the thing with everybody having equal opinions. Your opinion and Anarka's opinion are considered equally valid.
Whereas, personally, I do it by what they like. For example, if you watch the Real Housewives shows, your opinion isn't equal to mine. If you
Anyway,
watch American Idol,
What if you watch it ironically?
then your
if you watch
fucking
anything,
vote is less than fucking even Anarcha's. Dear
yeah, if you
God.
do anything ironically, I'm gonna listen to this ironically. Hey, like, am I the only one who like doesn't listen to this ironically? Like, I ironically listen to something? No. Then you are to be euthanized painfully
Mm-hmm.
with a dull needle in your cock, unless you're a woman. Then we'll.
Sortition, or selecting our representatives by lots, could provide a remedy to the democratic fatigue syndrome that we see everywhere today. So we're going to let a random number generator pick who represents us.
Yes, let's do that.
Well,
That'd be fun.
I agree with what they're talking about, which is essentially electorate stagnation, where, like, for instance, generally for most people, they're only going to really be able to follow two parties. And human beings love thinking in dichotomies, so it's perfect for that too.
Well, should we have any? Should we have anything more than electoral stagnation? I mean, if we actually have people interested, if we actually have the average person interested in voting, oh,
Well,
good.
what is the point in voting in the modern system? You're voting for your local person who the news won't talk about. The sort of like the news you'll mainly engage with will be talking about the leader of the party, not the person who's actually going to represent you, not the thing you're actually voting
Well, then
for.
we keep them asleep and we go down and vote the people who are actually aware.
But no, I mean, here's the thing: you get a system whereby now most of the electorate they are ill-informed. They don't really know, and the sides kind of have been switched. The script's been flipped. Everything's going all higgledy-piggledy and on its head. And so I can understand why people are confused. And no, your votes don't really do jack shit all in the end,
And
because you end up with a system that tries to justify you know, somebody being leader when they don't have a full actual mandate of the masses. And that's the problem, especially with first past the post. Now, proportional representation takes care of this a little bit because it makes your vote more valid. Your vote counts as a percentage of the overall, which means the more people who vote for X, the more seats that party gets.
You know what I've realized, Chaz? Humans want to be told what to do.
Hmm.
Humans would love if they were just told exactly what to do and think.
Oh, of course. Why do you think religion flourished? Rather than having to sit down and think about everything yourself, somebody came along with a big long list of yes and no answers to life.
If
Of
we
course, people ate that
gave
up.
people all this power and we told them to make their own minds up, they would be sitting in puddles of their own feces because they've just degenerated to the point where they can't function because they were, gasp, told to make their own mind up about something. So maybe it's good that we have some sort of, I mean, granted, I think it should be a little bit reformed, but it's good that we have some sort of, system keeping them in check.
Oh,
Because
you
there would
need a
be mass
system of government.
riots on the street if people were allowed to make up their own opinions.
Well,
I don't
our
trust the average person.
government performs much the same function as a brain does in the body. It's what centralizes the operation of everything, and it's what makes Part A and Part B talk to each other, and Part
And
A do what Part B needs it to do. And so government is a necessary thing. Now, there's many ways you can do that system of government, and there have been many tried around the world, and they all have their brilliances and their otherwise pitfalls
well, and
to
also
them.
people don't have the time to make up decisions as well. People don't have the time. I mean, you've just worked, 12 hours or whatever the hell, and you're gonna put on, the news, and if they gave you 12 parties, you're like, I don't know who to choose for. But if they gave you, you know, this is the good liberal or slash the evil liberal, and this is the good slash bad conservative, you force feed the public. Now, granted, do I think that, but basically what I'm saying is, I agree with it, except for the fact that humans are animals who need to be controlled. But let's move on with the thing, because we'll be here all day if we don't.
The drawing of lots is not a miracle cure more than elections ever were, but it can help correct the number of faults in the current system.
I say just let the system go and see what happens. I mean, even if someone I hate gets elected, just kind of watch what happens.
The risk of corruption is reduced, election fever abates, and attention to the common good increases.
What is the common good?
The common good.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, it's one of those terms. Also, the risk of corruption is reduced. I mean, let's say that they actually throw everyone's name in the country into a hat and pull out who gets in which seat.
That would be fun if I got in there.
Oh, God.
You control the
would have
weapons.
I do have to stand up for this line a bit. Other voting things do inhibit corruption, because when you get huge party stagnation, parties aren't as beholden to the people that they claim to represent, and because of that, these people don't mind being corrupt. If our government was actually legitimately worried that because they tax dodged, we were going to throw them out or throw them in prison, then they
They
wouldn't do
would
it.
hide it better.
They'd try.
They
They
would
would
hide it
have to
better and
hide.
they'd succeed. Regardless of what you do, corruption will always run rampant. There's nothing you can do about it. I love that the fact that, Congress and things are so worried about career politicians. Now they have term limits, so nobody can actually get anything done. That's what I love. But yeah, Chaz, you're not as cynical as I am. You still have that hope in humanity. Whereas I know that if The
Oh
government.
no, I'm not expressing any hope in humanity. I'm expressing that if humanity weren't so fucking stupid
Oh,
and
but you know,
idiotic and retarded, then maybe we could have this wonderful sort of reformation.
yes,
And
but I haven't taken enough drugs to, be in my own little fantasy world. So
also, there's another thing of whose names are on the lots. Let- Let's just take a look at that and see how that reduces the corruption if they control whose names are on the lots, and we get whoever the hell they want.
that's why everyone should be on the lot. That's why you should have like, no, it'd be funny if I got
Which should
like,
be like jury service.
yeah, that'd be funny if I got Ministry of Defense.
Do you know one of the first things to do? Take the money out of politics. Make politicians' salaries the average of what their constituency is. That's a start.
They'll never do it. They will never ever do it.
Mm. Or if they do, it will just make corruption fucking skyrocket.
Well, I mean, they
Because then
could.
everyone's going to be fucking vying. I mean,
No,
they
Jim.
try to hide things behind doors now, but they'll be even more brazen.
What it'll do is, yes, my salary is the same as my constituency. I'm going to go in this dark room and pick up the big suitcase full of money now that I secretly get.
Hmm.
It'll just make the acquisition of money secretive, and I mean, regardless of what you do, corruption will follow. And you can tell I'm not exactly sad about this. I think it's fun.
Voting on the basis of gut feeling is replaced by sensible deliberation. Oh, God.
Most humans don't have the brain capacity for sensible deliberation.
No, they don't. Fuck. And those who have been drafted are exposed to expert opinion, objective information, and public debate.
Yes, but expert opinions are the biggest crock of shit because you've seen the expert witness, gambit at trials where these highly paid people come on and say he's gay, he's gay, he's gay.
Yeah. Fuck.
By the way, we got like 1,000 views or however many views we got. Watch this have no views because people are just turned off by the cynicism.
Mhm. Democracy is not, by definition, government by the best, elected or not. But it's fine. But
It should be.
It flourishes precisely by allowing a diversity of voices to be heard. It's all about having an equal say and an equal right to determine what political action is taken.
But the problem is not everyone's opinion is equal. Sorry.
In order to keep democracy alive, we'll have to learn that democracy cannot be reduced to voting alone. Elections and referendums become dangerously outmoded tools if they are not enriched with more sensible forms of citizens' participation.
You know what scares me, Jim?
Uh,
Sorry. The thought that the, guy who spent, it's kind of like on Wikipedia, where you spend 40 years researching a subject, right? And you write an article about it, and some jackoff who's, picking his nose and has the IQ of a wombat comes in and fucks up your edit, and rather than like just banning the prick, you have to like negotiate with him and like somehow get, you know, some theorists say that the dancing skeletons were involved in World War One. You somehow have to get that into your article. It's I find it kind of scary that someone who actually has a capacity for independent thinking and someone who has the IQ of a wombat can both choose the leader. As you said, we get what we deserve, but do I deserve it? No, I deserve to be ruler of this country.
Well, this is why proportional representation is better, because then what happens is person A says, oh, I want Republican, and person B's like, I want Democrat. Well,
Maybe
then
we should.
what happens is all of those votes go together, and it's all like, this person got this much percentage of the vote, that
See,
person got that
I
much
have a
percentage of the vote,
better
so they
idea.
get X amount of seats.
I have a
This
better
allows
idea.
fringe groups more power.
We IQ test the entire nation every couple of years, or at least the majority of the nation, because you're never going to actually IQ test and anyone below a certain percentage point doesn't get to vote, drive, or do anything dangerous.
You want to know who else I hear say that a lot?
Yes, I know.
Oh, fuck.
But Jim, you know I'm serious. That's the scary part.
I know you're serious, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, let's attempt amateur eugenics.
Yeah, I understand that, and I fully come to terms with it. But you won't be bitching if I get you elected president, will you?
Nah.
Fuck up. Accept it.
Fuck you.
Hey, at least I'm talking about brains, not race.
The arguments put forward against sortition are often identical to the reasons once put forward for not allowing peasants, workers, or women to vote.
Damn women.
Then two opponents claimed it would mark the end of democracy.
I mean, maybe we should try it. Who knows? It could work. I don't fucking know.
I see it going to shit real quick.
Which is why we
Let's see
should
who
try it.
out of everyone in America will become president. Reach in the bag and it's only one name in there.
But everything will go to shit, which is why we should try it. I mean, come on. Wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah, I'd like to see everything dissolve.
Yes.
Do we think Brexit might still have been possible if citizens had been truly invited to express their grievances and search for solutions together with those they had voted for?
I think if Brexit was... I think if they were more informed... I don't know about whatever they said, but I think if they were more informed, it would have gone the other way, because I was looking at, people, what is the European Union? How does the European Union work? After they voted. Not before they voted, after they voted. I mean, that scares me.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't think all of them were Leave voters that did that, but I think the majority of them were. I think a lot of Remain people were like, what did I even actually really vote for anyway? But it just goes to show there is a problem with democracy in that idiots get a selection. There is a problem with that, which is why we generally do a lot of things when it comes to governance by representative democracy.
Well, now we're going to have a count. I mean, like I said, now we're going to have a recall election, another election, and my opinion is in a couple of years, we'll look at this as the great waste of time, as Britain is still in the EU, and everyone has forgotten about it except for me, because everyone... Isn't it funny how the collective mind seems to forget things fairly quickly?
Well, people didn't seem to get that all this thing has done is it's got rid of all of the things that kept our government in check. And so, for instance, our new Prime Minister, Theresa May, she's actually said she wants to repeal the Human Rights Act. Her previous job was to, ruin the police. So two of our Prime Ministers in a row have fucked pigs. And... it's just...
When's the next election, by the way? When's the next election to get her out of there?
2018, I think, maybe. No, when was the last one we had? It wasn't actually that long ago, was it?
2014, I think.
2015, maybe. So actually, I think actually it's not until like 2020, actually.
Oh, good.
Unless we can call an early...
Yeah, I was going to say, unless, well...
Which, when Gordon Brown took over from Blair back in 2007, Theresa May was like...
He just didn't call an election until he had to.
Well, you see, the thing is, the whole plan was, right, they got rid of Maggie and put in Major, because they knew the 90s credit crunch was coming, and they wanted Labour to take over the reins and have that happen to them, so that Conservatives would be able to keep power. But Major didn't call the early election. Major won the election that he was supposed to lose, and then the next time he lost it to Blair.
And that went beautifully.
Yeah. So then Blair left. The whole point was that fucking dickface was supposed to call a general election, and then Labour was supposed to lose. 2008, the Conservatives are in. Banking crisis happened. It's all their fault. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
you know, the thing is, there's been sort of like credible rumorage that by 2020, in 2020 odd, we will have another major recession.
Well, I'll be in, whatever. We'll see what happens.
May the 7th, 2020. The last one was May last year.
Yeah. So, Jim.
One group is responsible for America's culture of violence.
Yeah.
And it isn't cops, black Americans, Muslims, or rednecks.
I would say rednecks.
It's those filthy damn Jews getting all those criminals off as lawyers, isn't it?
Hey. You have to speak in code, Chaz. You can't just be outright bigoted anymore.
Oh, sorry, it's those filthy 22.
Reptiles. It's the reptiles, Chaz.
It's men.
Because you've never heard of women serial killers. Which, if you are a female serial killer and you'd like to have sex with a... never mind.
On Thursday morning, a fire alarm in the Los Angeles Times building went off. Fortunately, the dozens of office alarms I've heard over the years have always been drills or misfiring systems. For the first time, instead of begrudgingly grabbing my belongings and traipsing downstairs, I was afraid. For the first time, I thought in my mind, this wasn't a drill, but a shooter. Americans are united in our fear of violence, and I'm not. I'm sorry. United in our fear of violence. On this show of all. Oh, God.
And this is by Melissa something or other, by the way.
Yeah.
That's quite an unusual last name, something or other. Where's that from?
Bachelor Ward. I don't fucking know. I just wanted to see who it was by. Yeah, so you thought it might be a shooter. See, I'm one of these people who, doesn't care until the shots start firing. Like, if you say there's a shooter in the building, I'll be like, a shooter. Okay. Oh, there's a shooter.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Come on, 9 times out of 10, if it's a shooter, it's going to be you, Elliot.
Chaz, you're ruining my secrecy.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you do a mass shooting. Like there was a shooting incident in California today. No one was hurt whatsoever.
See, wouldn't it be funny if you made that joke and it turned out accidentally? I thought I was just shooting like into the air to scare people. Turns out I killed 95 people. I'm just trying to scare people. No, not again.
You'd be like my girlfriend when she plays Call of Duty. You'd just be shooting at the ground.
No. What I'm saying is, like, that's what I'm trying to do, to scare people into, like, I'll do it, or for, like, entertainment, but I accidentally killed 95 people in the process.
And we're divided on which members of our society are most likely to perpetrate it. Yeah, people that want to fucking do it. That's who does it. Go on.
But we have to blame some sort of scapegoat group thing.
No, we have to blame a group because it's all hive mind thinking.
Like I said,
Fuck
we
the
have to
individual.
blame a group. What's my head stupid?
Some of these finger pointing conversations are productive. They teach us how to address and reduce violence. Some are unproductive. They are rooted in ignorance and reinforce dangerous stereotypes. Men are to blame, though, because. Okay.
I like the way they're always talking about the perpetuation of stereotypes until they're the one doing it.
Yeah, and then they act like, no, this is fact. That's not stereotype. Oh, man. In the wake of the Orlando, Florida shooting, some conservative politicians called for the use of the term radical Islam to label the violent movement with which Omar Mateen identified himself. In the wake of police shootings of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, many called for a review of violence by law enforcement against black Americans. I call for a review of it against, all people, because there are some pretty trigger-happy cops out there, and overall, it doesn't seem like they give a shit about race.
No, like especially I especially love the one story I read where the guy admitted to being a concealed carry holder. He went for his ID and the cop shot him.
Yeah.
That's one of those great stories, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. After Dallas, some piled on the Black Lives Matter movement, suggesting that the gunman was spurred to murder because he'd made a reference to the group. He wanted to kill white people, and especially white cops, which is the main message of the group.
I thought the main message of the group is self-promotion.
Well, yeah, but, because, Mummy didn't love him enough or something. I don't know. Others use the term black-on-black violence to refer to the killings of poor black Americans in their communities, playing into what author, something I'm not going to pronounce, has labeled the enduring myth of black criminality. But black-on-black violence is a problem.
I love how they say you've got to listen to Black Lives Matter so that you don't erase the voices of black people. Yet Black Lives Matter openly, ignore any black person who doesn't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is why you should be engaging in differing ideas, people. Fuck.
No, that's too hard.
Yeah, it might make me question what I believe, and I have to believe it. No, I don't give a shit. What we don't talk about is how the greatest predictor of violence isn't religion, occupation, or race. It's gender.
Never met any violent women, have you, Jim? Never met a single violent woman. No one who, beat the shit out of your friend because your friend joked that, oh, you're just at this punk show for to meet some guys, and you don't care about the music. Then she knocks his teeth out. And then,
or how about 6 chicks that went up to beat the living shit out of another chick just because she stole my pants?
Yes, but you've never been beaten up by a chick?
Yes, I've been beaten up by chicks.
But apparently women aren't violent.
Yeah.
And I find violent women attractive, personally.
Are we also counting the ones that he's paid to do it, though? Because I think that would be a tad unfair.
I don't think Jim's paid to do it. I don't think he has to. He's too assholic to have to pay for things like that.
Yeah. In the United States, 98% of those who commit mass shootings are male. 98% of officers who have shot and killed civilians are male. 90% of those who commit homicide by any means are male. and 80% of those arrested for all violent crimes, murder, non-negligent manslaughter, forcible rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, are male. When that fire alarm rang in the Times building, the image of the shooter that flashed through my mind wasn't identifiably white, black, Christian, or Muslim, but there was no question in my mind the person was male.
Well, stereotypes or whatever, but I think it'd be funny if someone
You know, I once saw somebody park really badly. I just assumed it was a woman.
I saw somebody park really badly, and I just assumed it was Chaz.
I saw someone eating my shit, and I assumed it was a woman.
What? I don't want to know.
No, nobody does.
Not even you?
I don't even want to remember it. When you look at the numbers, one thing emerges over and over. Violent female offenders are unlikely to kill people they don't know.
You've never heard of female serial killers? And if you don't think any exist...
Aileen Woodrose.
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden never did it, though.
That's what they say. And what was her face? What was her name? There was a woman who was a nurse who was harming people to then sort of save them to make it look like it was all her. And
that's just sadistic enough that I like it. That's just evil enough that I have.
Well, she was giving babies overdoses of insulin.
Yeah, I know. I've read about this, and I said it's just
Beverly Knight or something like that. I'm sure.
Sadistic. It's sadistic and evil enough, and self-serving enough that I like it. I'll hurt these people to save them and take the credit for it. Jim, we have a new business venture.
Dead babies everywhere.
I love dead babies, and dead babies love me.
Well, the funny thing is men are more prone to sort of outward aggression and violence. Women specialize in pre-planned manipulative violence. So things like poisoning, the premeditated, planned out. And women are well known for getting men to do their killing for them.
Yes, women are more subtle and therefore are better.
Mm-hmm.
Because men don't have that kind of subtlety. And, I'm not saying this.
We don't have vaginas, which vaginas are fun to have, and they make.
I'm not saying it to curry favor. I'm saying it. Men don't have the fucking subtlety aspect down. When they see someone they want to kill, they just want to kill the fucker.
And
that's why I think we should hire women to torture people.
And I've been tempted to do a few things because of vagina. Yeah,
I found Satan because of it, but that's a long story.
Yeah. Most mass shootings are committed against strangers, although there are notable exceptions, such as in San Bernardino. When women commit murder, their victim is a stranger only 7% of the time. When men commit murder, the victim is a stranger 25% of the time.
See, to me, this just means women are smarter. Okay, and I'm not saying this to be some sort of feminist. I'm saying I don't really want to kill strangers. I have a list, though. I have a long list. And I think a couple months ago, I finally scratched Jim's name off the do not kill list, even if I'm pissed. Chaz is still on the do. Chaz is still on the.
Come on, yeah, take the cock out your mouth and then try giving me the insult. How does that sound?
Yeah, you took too long. You suck.
Now Chaz is number 3 on the do kill list. Oh, Jim, you're back on it.
Just number 3. Oh, I must be letting my standards slip.
Well, Anarcha and Mason are 1 and 2. So, do you really want to be better than them?
That's some competition in there.
If women are less likely to kill strangers, could increasing the number of women on the police force reduce officer-involved killings?
No.
Nope.
No. Humans are human. The 2000. Oh fuck! There was that one fucking. I remember. Yeah, there was this one female officer that shot a kid because he was holding a Wii remote, and she wasn't even there for the kid. She was there for the kid's father.
Mm.
I think people who play Nintendo Wii should be shot, so I'm not really against that.
Mm.
Why is there a police siren? I can hear a siren. I'm scared now. I'm not
Yes,
even kidding.
this is because you have stated things that go against the party.
I like the way they're like, they're trying to say, obviously, no, it's not blacks, but it's black men, essentially.
Well, they're saying it's
Not.
not. No, Chaz, you're not getting it.
Oh, well, no, they said the people who are responsible for violence
They're
are
saying
men.
it's not just black. There's
Yeah,
you know,
no, I get what they're saying, but the point that I'm making is that they're trying to sort of say that. So they are sort of tacitly agreeing that there is black on black violence with this. Otherwise, what they're trying to say is that it's only white men are violent, or it's all
So
men that are
you're
violent, and by that
trying-
implication, they have to accept black on black
They
crime.
didn't say it didn't exist. They just said it was blown out of proportion.
You're treating this as if you're capable of actually debating them.
Well,
They
no,
shut
Chaz
you
actually
out
just
quick.
actually Chaz is just, in my opinion, trying to grasp at non-existent straws. But you know,
No, not really.
yes, because you just said something that they never said.
Mhm.
No, I didn't say they never. I'm trying to say something they never said. I said I'm saying something they have to tacitly agree to. If
And
you
they-
speak to a lot of these Black Lives Matter people, they seem to want to completely ignore the fact that any black on black crime exists. That seems to be the typical SJW narrative at the moment. They
But
seem to be trying to erase that from the
these
equation.
people never said it didn't exist. They said basically that it was blown out of proportion.
Yeah, but you wait, they will.
A 2002 study by the National Center for Women in Policing shows that although women comprise 12.7% of sworn police officers in urban centers, only 5% of citizen complaints for excessive force involve female officers.
Well, that's because they just kill them and bury the bodies and get
So
out of the
that's
way.
just under half of the officers.
It's not half the it's not half the officers because it could just be a really aggressive officer that gets like 4 point something percent of it, and they can't fire her because she'll just like murder the fucking deputy. Think about it, Jim. It's awesome.
The average male officer is 2 to 3 times more likely to be named in an excessive force complaint.
My friends long ago stopped making excessive force complaints because they knew they weren't going to get fucking answered.
That was nearly 15 years ago, you may say. Let's see some newer data on the role of gender in policing. Oh, I agree. You might also wonder whether male officers are far more likely than female ones to choose assignments in which drawing a weapon is a real possibility.
By the way, we're not going to mention the newspaper this comes from because it gives me deep shame.
It's the LA Times.
Fuck you. Basically, the newspaper that I'm from the minor outskirts of LA. Where's the fucking Jeanette Times or whatever the fuck little small fucking town you're from?
That was one of the ones that did the Crazy Louie story.
Oh, I love the Crazy Louie story.
Mm-hmm. It's a significant understudied area in which is why it's so crucial to talk about the role men play in America's epidemic of violence.
Epidemic of
keep
Violence. I
hearing.
love that album by Demolition Hammer.
Okay,
Great album.
good. I'm just sitting here thinking, isn't this all we fucking hear about is how it's men's fault for everything? And blur, well, oh, fuck. Remove the individual out of the equation.
The funny thing is, not a day goes by that I don't have violent thoughts. Yet I've never done anything overly violent. Okay, nothing lethal. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. We need serious current research in order to understand why male police officers are more violent in their interactions with citizens and how the culture of policing can be changed.
You'll never change it.
Oh, God. Ostensibly, the discrepancy could simply be that men are more likely to kill people than women because they are more able. A man may have the strength to beat or strangle a woman to death, whereas a woman may have the strength only to injure a man.
I don't. You know, you can ask my friend who was shot by his girlfriend almost fatally. You can ask about the strength of a woman then.
You can ask about the strength of a woman while fucking people I know were lying there bleeding on the floor,
Yeah,
begging for air, and we had to pull the chick off of them.
like puked at one time. Although I wasn't going to help him. She could have killed him. I thought it was kind of funny, actually. I'm a great friend, aren't I? Your death is funny. You're dying.
But if physicality alone, rather than brain chemistry or socialization, were the reason that men kill at a much higher rate than women, then we could expect guns to be a leveling technology. The statistics, however, do not bear this out.
So basically, we should all be afraid of butch lesbians.
From 1980 to 2014, the gender gap in gun ownership is closed by 17%. Yet the rates at which men and women kill have remained relatively stable.
Well, I know some fucking rednecks.
Why don't we talk about the gender gap in gun ownership? We need to give every woman a fucking pistol.
No, we need to give everyone a machine gun. Then go up into a space station and watch the chaos.
There we go. Guns for the poor.
Guns for the poor.
The reality is that we don't know exactly why men are exponentially more prone to violence. If we're going to reduce mass shootings, officer-involved killings, and the culture of violence in America, however, we need to talk about it.
I don't know the answer, because I don't know the statistics.
I think the answer is humans are human and they kill.
Humans are humans and they kill. Now I had the lyrics to Stripped, Raped, and Strangled rolling through my head.
Nottinghamshire police records misogyny as a hate crime.
Yeah. What is a hate crime? I'm not being a smart ass, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like hate speech, except that you commit an actual legal felony. It's essentially,
I know what a fucking
it
hate
comes
crime.
from.
I was being sarcastic.
I know. I too was just being obtuse.
No, you're being a
right angle.
Cunt. Yes, you're being a right angle. And Jim, stop being cute. You fucking
harassment.
Angle jokes.
Harassment of women is to be recorded as a hate crime in a bid to tackle sexist abuse.
Sexist abuse should be like the name of an intestinal discord song.
Oh, God. Now you're making me think this could take away music. God damn it.
It won't, because if Bound for Glory and Screwdriver can still record, even though they're fucking neo-Nazis, they just can't play without getting harassed, but they fucking record, you know. It's funny, they never got shit for recording or releasing their albums. They only got shit for playing.
Yeah.
No, it'll never take away music. You know. Besides, is intestinal discord really music?
True. Police said it would expand its categories to include misogynistic incidents. It means abuse or harassment of which might not be a crime, can be reported and investigated by police, and support for the victim put in place. The Women's Center hopes that it will help give more victims the courage to report incidents.
The only problem I see with this is, of course, it could be used as an excuse to report nothing incidents as
Uh,
that's the one thing he looked at me funny and I don't like him, arrest him or whatever. But
BBC BBC TV reporter Sarah Teal was harassed in the street while reporting on a conference. The video, the guy just runs up to the camera and says, "Fuck her in the pussy," which a lot of
which I
people
think he
have
should
been
go to
doing
jail for
lately.
I think he should go to jail for being an annoying prick. But I'm this is why I'm not in power, Jim, because I'm not very nice.
I know.
And besides, it ruins your report if
I mean, it's an annoying meme where people try to interrupt news broadcasts, regardless of who's reporting this by shouting, "Fuck her in the pussy," just to piss people off.
I mean, I'm in favor of torture for that. So this is why I'm not president, Jim, because I'm extreme.
Mm. Melanie Jeffs, center manager at the Women's Center, said, "We're pleased to see that the police recognize the breadth of violence and intimidation that women experience on a daily basis in our communities." To which I say, if you're experiencing it on a daily basis, why the fuck aren't you moving?
Yeah, I would move. Even I
Yeah.
couldn't take that, and I could take a lot of shit.
Mm,
Smoke.
exactly. She added, "Recording this as a hate crime will give us a detailed picture of how often, when, and where it is happening. And it's been very difficult to build a picture before, but now we will get detailed data to analyze."
I think you'll
So,
find it's mostly in bars after 3 in the morning when people are really drunk.
or fucking idiotic kids thinking they're going to be cool.
Which, come on, Jim. Let's be honest here. Wouldn't it be cool to see a couple idiotic kids tortured senselessly?
Yes, it would be fun watching
Okay.
that.
Yes.
Showing that police take it seriously will also give people the confidence to come forward and report offenses. And remember
They
that one
won't take
story
it
yesterday
seriously.
where the guy said, "Hey, I'd like to give you my phone number so that we can maybe hang out later." Ah, that's misogyny.
I
So
would
that would have been reported as a hate crime.
see. I would have just pepper sprayed his ass, and I'm a guy because you know,
Fuck.
they won't let me walk around because my sister has a taser apparently because I don't know why. People, sexual harassment. They won't let me walk around with the taser. I want to use the taser.
Hmm.
Think about what I would do with the taser.
And we also have Dallas shooter was a victim of a government that enforces evolution studies in schools.
Oh God, yes. I didn't see this, but I don't know what this. Where's this from? We have to know where this is from.
TheOzWatch.com.
Oh boy, this will be fun.
The
Goddamn evolution.
sniper, the sniper event couldn't have happened at a more propitious time as the Congress is pushing through more gun control legislation.
Oh my God.
Could the timing just be coincidental? Consider some similar sniper events. On March
Yes, it is
2011,
coincidental.
the spontaneous democratic protest in Dara led to carnage as trained snipers killed 7 policemen, 4 protesters, escalating the crisis and launching the 5-year-long division of Syria. That sniper event was carefully planned and well coordinated and had nothing to do with the United States, which you're trying to talk about.
I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
By the way, if the narrative presented by the media and government were actually true, and I doubt it is, what should be done? Should we have an irate black man with a gun killing police officer? What should be done? Take away everyone's guns? That begs the question. What brought this man to this point when he considers murdering others a good thing? How was he educated? His high school taught him evolution.
Here we go. Welcome to the Batshit Crazy Show.
That he was just a compilation of mutations and mistakes. Just an overgrown ape.
Actually, some Nazis. Anyway, never mind. Never mind.
Oh, God.
Some Nazis think that.
Yeah. Add to that the notion
By the way,
of...
Yeah.
Add to that the notion of relativism, that there are no absolutes, nothing absolutely right or wrong. Compound that with the preaching from the schoolhouse that each individual is entitled to make up their own moral value system.
Oh my God, Andrew Schlafly, eat your heart out.
Then top it off by showing the student for more than 40 years murdering is not only valued as a societal good.
I want to know what school teaches that.
What school? I'd like to go there.
Me too. I want to go back to school for that.
It has such an exalted status that the government will pay you to murder, provided you are female and it is your own child in the womb that you are choosing to.
Oh my fucking God! Could you just murder me now, please? Oh, see, I thought they were gonna make like a soldier reference, like I would have done.
Oh no, they faked you out on that one.
Oh, God, I want to kill myself now. Fuck you, Jim.
Given all these facts that the government indoctrination centers have raised a generation of barbarians. They've raised a generation of fucking pussified sacks of fucking... Oh, God.
I think I think he died.
Vertebrates, God. They have no spine. They have no backbone.
I think
They raised barbarians. They raised fucking... God.
Jazz, we killed him.
I think we did by the sounds of it.
What surprises me is that we don't see more wholesale murder taking place in our already blood-soaked land.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, if the papers keep on stoking it the way they are, eventually it's going to happen.
In spite of the relentless satanic propaganda drilled in by the government-run schools.
Oh, kill yourself.
Oh, God. I wish it was satanic.
I do, too. I mean, I'm a Satanist. I'm
not a Satanist, and I wish it was satanic. Just to challenge some people. Fuck.
I was trying to challenge Scott with debates, but he didn't understand what I was talking about when I was talking about like metaphysical and spiritual shit, and he thought I meant science. Scott's a bit of a...
You gotta use your imagination whenever you do that. If you don't believe in it, just imagine.
Yeah, but Scott's, rational.
Nah, he's lacking in the imagination department. Ugh.
True, he is, but I still like him. I don't know why.
Some survivors of these indoctrination camps still have a semblance of conscience remaining. Oh, God.
Is that the last article? Is that how we're going to end the show?
How do you want to end the show? I could go for one, maybe two more.
All right, sure.
All right.
I can't take my face. Oh, fuck. I think I'm going to I don't fucking know. What the
We have
fucking...
to encounter the ideas. We had one. We had one article which seemed we kind of agreed with, except for the premise that this was supposed to be democracy instead of.
And then we
Yeah.
got one that was... I think that was more insane than the men are the cause of all crime thing.
Mm-hmm. And then we got that one we just did. Fuck.
By the way, metal news, Blood Red Throne came out with a new album on Friday. If you like kind of groovy death metal, I think you'll enjoy it. Of course, Cradle of Filth came out with the original recording of Dusk in Her Embrace, which is a very good album. And the original recording is very good. God, I can't really think of anything new. I think Sabaton's supposed to come out with a new album. Anyway, that's metal album news. Metal album news. Um, I'll
Yeah.
I'll come back with more metal news on Friday when we should have some decent albums.
Okay. Mexican hit woman confesses to having sex with beheaded corpses and drinking their blood.
That's kind of sexy, actually.
The chilling confession of Juana, aka La Peak, or the Little One, from her prison cell in Baja, California.
God, I always wondered what happened to that girl that I was telling you about that beat up puke. I think this is her.
Oh, God.
Is she wearing all pink?
She looks like she's not wearing it in this shot. It's all blue.
Oh, because that's what she always wore.
28-year-old Juana worked as a prostitute until beginning her cartel career as a lookout for police and soldiers. During her time working for the cartel, she bore witness to a host of gruesome moments, including a man's head being smashed open with a mace. At first, Juana was put off by the blood and gore involved in Mexico's perilous cartel world. Oh, God.
And by the way, I believe this is from the Sun.
Then she claims she became excited by violent scenes. Juana began to feel excited by it by rubbing myself in it, and bathing in it after killing a victim. I even drank it when it was still warm, she alleged.
Well, you wouldn't want a cold one, would you?
Yeah, you need the fresh corpse. According to reports, the former cartel member said she had sex with the cadavers of those decapitated, using the severed heads as well as the rest of their bodies to pleasure herself. The kinky criminal is reportedly still awaiting sentencing.
I think that redeems every story you've given us. That is awesome.
Yes.
And of course, it was not caused by a man.
Yes, it was not caused by a man. A man was not killing those people, not beheading them, and not raping their corpses. She was. This is beautiful.
We should raise the money to bail her out.
Yeah. This is like marriage material.
Yeah, right? Yeah. This is the chick you marry, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Until she kills you.
Yes, and then you die. And then, my friend, you die.
Well, no, you die first.
Hey. Oh, God.
Hope you enjoyed that one. Negrophilia.
Yes, I had to end it on a high note.
All right, are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. Because I'm tired of it. So, I hope you enjoyed that high note after the low note. This has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode 95 for the, I don't remember what day it is, 18th of July, 2016. You can email us at ellinthemood@gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers. We can't change the URL unless we make a new page. I don't want to make a new page, so fuck you. And Twitter is SwineBro666. For my co-host, political expert, and guy who talks too much, Chaz, for my co-host, co-metal expert, producer, newsreader, and asshole, Jim. I am your host, Ellie Lindemood. We'll see you later.
Bathe in the blood of thine victims.